And with little to no wind at all here on the opening hole, Josh Anthon finds himself inbounds.
Next off the tee, from Huntington Beach, California, 4-time world champion, the Ledgestone reigning champion and defending champion, Paul McBeth.
And McBeth may not have enough distance. We're going to see if that clears and stays in the, and it does not. First tee shot out of bounds, just like we saw yesterday.
Two in a row. See if he can save the
par.
par.
Paul Ulibarri.
And Yuli's disc is turning over. He's going to find himself carrying toward the OB, but I'm guessing that's going to come up safe, and it's done just that.
From Fort Mills, South Carolina, 2-time world champion, Ricky Wysocki.
And Ricky Wysocki also easily carrying over the water, and he will be safe. We have a great battle going on in the women's division. We'll show you. And McBeth thinks that may be also going out of bounds. He's put plenty of power on it, and it's going to carry out and past. And he's still OB. He'll play from over there. Paul Ulibarri should have a relatively easy approach up the hill, coming to within 20 feet of the basket.
And I think we learned yesterday it's
Plenty of, and a little bit of suggestion here on the 1 and 4 interchange. Great to have so many spectators out here in. Paul's Nova approach puts him right near the pin. Rolled down the sidewalk. Slight distraction, but Paul McBeth is in. So just like that, Josh Anthon actually will relinquish the stroke. I had certainly counted that in too early for him. Ulibarri and Wysocki with a smile. We're moving on to hole 2. And Ulibarri opts for a forehand with driver. And we see Wysocki with a backhand roller. We saw him throw that a times yesterday. And that has carried to the water and OB. And McBeth with a backhand. Let's see how the women did earlier on hole 2. And after going OB on his initial tee shot, we see Ulibarri hits a tree on the left side of the fairway. McBeth with a mid-range going up the right alley inside the circuit. Josh with a shortened run up was able to throw a hyzer down toward the pin. Wysocki hoping to get up and down so that he can walk away with a par here. We've seen quite a few. And Wysocki's putt is low. Anthon with a birdie. We're also hearing that James Cole is starting out very hot, just as he did yesterday. McBeth, it's a second effort. However, he is in for birdie. Uli and Wysocki are in. We've got a lengthy walk to hole 3. Stay tuned right here at the Ledgestone. And as we've seen the last few days, Josh Anthon going right up the middle, 260-foot par 3, hole number 3.
Josh has birdied it all 3 days so far.
And McBeth going up the middle as well, but releasing low. Yesterday, I believe we saw Josh hit a putt from about 58 feet, and I think, well, McBeth had about half that distance. They both birdied. And Uli goes a little wider right. We're going to see now if Ricky Wysocki changes up his game plan, and he's doing just that. The last 2 days, we've seen him go OB with a forehand. Today, backhand. And this time, he almost remains treeless. Let's see how the women did on their third hole at Sunset Hills. McBeth with a good angle, however, left of. And Ricky and almost an identical. McBeth is in, and again, Uli picking up a stroke on the group. We're going to move on to the blind downhill. Hole number 4 will be back in a few moments from the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
And Josh Anthon and Ricky Wysocki also have a 3. So they've been all over the board on this one.
Uli hugs the left side. Good shot just off to the left. He's inside circle 2. Here comes Josh Anthon throwing a mid-range.
Straight up the gut, probably a little low.
Carried left toward the rough.
Do you think he misthrew that, or did he change his tack?
I think he wished he'd thrown that a little bit harder. We know he's got more than enough power. And McBeth also left. And early, Ricky had a drop in from 3 feet here yesterday.
That looks like a beautiful shot, curving to the right as long as it stays in bounds. And it curves OB, and Rick will have a long putt to save par.
And Paul releases a very light forehand. He'll take his drop and lays up to where his drive really landed yesterday. Anthon really has no choice but to lay up from the position he. And Uli gives it a run just. That will give Anthon, McBeth, and Ulibarri all threes. Ricky will tap in for his 4 with the penalty. And we're going to be moving on to the hole we saw yesterday where Paul McBeth wedged it into the side of the basket. We're moving on to hole 5, the Ledgestone Insurance Open. Facing this hole in the opening round, and Paul McBeth sticking it into the side of the basket yesterday. And I'm going to say this looks like somewhat of a layup here by Paul Ulibarri. And I can appreciate that shot. This is a very dangerous green and a very difficult hole that's very easy to give up strokes on. Josh Anthon not laying up, though.
Paul's got 14 holes to gain 9 strokes on Josh. I think playing safe is kind of a smart play right here. A beautiful throw by Josh. He's got about 70 feet to the pin for birdie, just like yesterday.
And Paul looks to have the same orange Star Destroyer I think we saw him throwing yesterday. Again, 476 feet. And I'm going to say that looks short. Seems as if it is not going to clear and right out of his hand. It just didn't look like he put enough on net. And Paul McBeth will find himself OB. Now leaves Ricky Wysocki 4th to tee. I've got to say, I'm not sure Ulibarri is necessarily thinking he's going to get all the way to hunting down Josh and catching him, but he'd love to secure himself a 2nd place finish. Great shot by Wysocki. Stay tuned. We're going to move right to the. And Paul throwing a big hyzer out toward the basket. Great looking shot. And now, let's check in with the women. And Paul Ulibarri just past the basket for his approach shot. And Josh has 75 feet to the pin. Had it not been elevated, that might have hit side basket. And Ricky lofts it up and over the basket. And McBeth will manage. And Wysocki somewhat beside himself here. And Uli playing the safe shot off the tee, pitches behind the basket, and will walk away with a very easy 3. Josh Anthon also will walk in with a very easy 3. We'll move it on to the long par 4, hole number 6, right here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. Years ago, players had to contend with. And our second card is moving down, and it looks like we're back and we're ready. Paul Ulibarri was already ready on the tee, and he has thrown a great shot center fairway. Steve Dodge also joins me. Went out and got a little 3K run in.
It's good to be loose. Josh Anthon throws just as we would expect. Very good shot. It's a little tighter to the right than I would have expected, but he's going to have a really good look at the green. Should have an easy 4 from there.
I feel like the
Paul
closer
McBeth
you...
is being very aggressive on this drive. Comes out over the OB. I think he's going to be running this for the 3.
And I will say, I feel like the closer you are to the right side OB line, the better position you're in to be aggressive on a second shot if you're trying to do that. And Wysocki answers with an almost identical shot to McBeth. Cole looks to be wrapping up hole 6 with a par. And KJ Nybo had tickled the chains. And Ricky Wysocki's throwing this out over the gallery. That's coming back inbounds nicely. The long grass should make it stick. It's done just that. Mode, which usually tells me he hasn't quite relinquished the idea of winning, but when he hurries and throws quickly, that means he's playing aggressive, and it's all or nothing at this point. That's really what I'm trying to spend.
Raffle ticket. But second place, which is where Paul Ulibarri sits right now, is $4,500. And here's Paul Ulibarri's third shot. And that is a beautiful shot that does sit, and he'll have about 20
with every passing moment. Holding on to second for 4,500 is not such a bad day either. And Josh doing Josh Anthon things out here as we've seen all weekend. Third place.
2 strokes could cost $500 to $1,000.
From 16 meters. Wysocki. And I stand corrected. I apologize. And Ulibarri has a certain focus to him today that I really like seeing. He is dialed in. Josh Anthon is in for the 4. We're going to move on to one of the shortest and one of the statistically easiest holes found on the course, hole number 7. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a very short walk, hole 7. Rick opts for the standstill forehand tee shot. Hits a tree near the pin, kicks left. He's inside the circle. And Josh with a relatively beat-up putter goes right up the middle with a backhand. McBeth also lining up a backhand.
Ulibarri and McBeth are the only 2 players that have had trouble on this hole so far, both guarding 3s twice.
And McBeth opting for a mid-range going deep of the pin. Let's see how the women did on hole 7 at Sunset Hills. And that's up high and just barely misses a tree that he couldn't even see from that right side. Great recovery shot. And after hitting dead set, maybe stunned, I think is the word. Ricky very composed and poised after that. That was nasty.
He did a great job of bouncing back after a couple of really tough putts on hole 5. Did a long putt on 6. Kind of felt he was maybe getting his mojo back, and it just got taken away.
Moving on to hole number 8, a very long peninsula shot. Stay tuned at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Disney, as Thrumner approaches. And a little turn on that. And you said it. You thought he would pure the shot. He's done just that. Josh Anthon sitting with his 28 under par in great position here on hole number 8.
Those of us who don't have as much power as, say, the top guys in the tour love seeing the way he throws that disc with a little bit of flex.
And McBeth is carrying wide right after getting through the gap. Plenty of power. However, that's going to be a difficult angle if he's going to try and attack the green from there. Next to throw is Ricky Wysocki.
Wow.
And Wysocki's also carrying right after getting through the gap.
Makes me wonder if there's a little bit more of a wind on the other side of the woods there.
And after the penalty stroke on the previous hole, Ulibarri fourth to throw. Let's see how the women did on hole 8 at Sunset Hills. And with pinpoint accuracy, that's just fading to the right. We'll see if Wysocki coming in very early with that forehand. Their tee shots. Paul's really in perfect position here. And Ulibarri with a misfire of sorts. Also right side. You said you'd rather be right.
Struggling for a par. And this is a beautiful forehand from Paul. The green does open up on the back side, which he did fly over the bucket. He's probably well inside the circle there.
And just beyond the basket, as we already know on this peninsula green, it looks like Wysocki's has in fact rolled out of bounds into the water. You have a relatively easy putt from there. However, another stroke given away.
Land flat, and he just pushed a little deep, and it caught that hillside.
And McBeth coming in with the 3. Solid. And even after a little roughage as that comes through, Paul Ulibarri is in. And a very rare miss and mistake there by Josh Anthon. Not only did he not grab any medal, he's going to go ahead and mark his lie. And he's fine that he's got a few to play with. Wysocki almost dips in. And a beautiful shot here by Paul McBeth, which is tracking toward the basket. Finds himself inbounds here on this very dangerous tee shot, hole number 9.
And that's got to get some legs. Playing to the fat side. Good shot by Paul.
And Josh Anthon's is lifted by the wind, however, that's carrying to the wide side of the green, and he gets the green flag. He's safe. And Ricky also is carrying left to see if that's got enough legs. It looks like we should get a green flag. We'll see how the women did on hole 9 at and from 15 meters, Wysocki converts. Again, Yuli's had a certain focus about him today, very effective, and a great birdie by Uli. Josh Anthon from almost the exact same distance, just a few feet inside. And another rare miss there by Josh Anthon.
And nice up from Paul, right?
The gallery is moving on, and Josh is tapping in. We're moving to the back for park jobs or for very close tries. I challenged him and said, "Is it really 500?" And he says, "We use lasers." And McBeth very easily putting it inside the circle. And Ulibarri's, with a little bit of turn to it, seems to be stabling up between the circle 1 and circle 2.
That looks like a little Ulibarri step putt coming up quick.
And Wysocki riding the wind, or I should say almost even fighting it. Doesn't get a forward skip, but he'll have an easy birdie putt from there. And the famous now stutter step by Josh Anthon looks to be heading right toward the pin, a little short. Let's see how the women competed on hole 9 earlier today.
And coming up just short off the... And... before lining up this 15-footer.
And certainly a little frustration there by Ricky Wysocki. He was spit on hole number 7. One that definitely could have stayed in for him, and unfortunately, just not the best of luck. Ricky slams it in. He's understandably frustrated. We're going to move on. We got a long walk to hole 11. We'll be back at the Ledgestone Insurance Open. And welcome back to hole number 11. Josh Anthon quickly getting up and throwing his forehand. Yesterday we saw Anthon underneath the basket for his birdie. Ulibarri will throw a forehand, as will Wysocki. Uli looking at 25 feet. And Wysocki just short. 4 birdie looks. Let's see how the women did on hole. Unbelievable. And Uli from 27 feet.
Let me pick my jaw up off the ground. I was about to commend Ricky on just stepping up and jamming the putt like he should, but that's what he did. And McBeth taps in. That's unfortunate. Hopefully it's the last we see on this card, and hopefully the last for Ricky.
Moving on to the water tower hole, hole 12. Orange Star Destroyer in his hands.
Wide, but it's got the height to come back left, and he's inside the circle, about 15-20.
Great shot, and without hesitation, Josh Anthon lining up his shot. And that is carrying very nicely. We're going to find that very similar to McBeth's shot. Paul Ulibarri now third to tee. I'd like to say hi to Keith Murray, Spinners on the Green, and everyone over at Duke's. We know you guys are logged in and watching SmashBoxx and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And that hits the water tower, but does come to a rest in bounds. So again, thanks for the support from Arizona over at Duke's Bar and Grill, and spinners on the green. There's Wysocki shot.
And that's got the height coming back. See it under the pin, so he doesn't have to worry about putting here. And 4 green flags.
Dead center chains. Again, Paul Ulibarri on point here today. And Ricky stares that one down. A little bit of disgust there. And even with movement in the background, Josh Anthon cleans up. Expect the same from McBeth. And he's done just that. We have a very lengthy walk to hole 13. Let's see how Simon... And Dana, what's really interesting about this initial tee shot is they're not throwing full power. They're throwing with power, but not full power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You really just want to play about a 350-foot shot to the right, just where Paul landed. Josh is okay. This is the easiest par 5 on the course if you put yourself in position on the water off the tee. You could throw 3 righty hyzers in a row and be under the pin. But if you really rip on it and find yourself left and having to take that inside fairway, you're going to be throwing a lot of high difficulty shots where it...
Again, not full power. Watching Ricky Wysocki clears the water, hits the tree, and it checks up. He'll stop there. Let's see how the women did over on hole number 13 at Sunset. Josh is waiting for that to push over, get stable, and move to the left. And Ricky Wysocki finding grass on this second shot of his. And Paul McBeth looking to do the same.
Yeah, and these tee shot or these up shots they're throwing here, they're really only throwing about 250 to maybe 300 feet. It really isn't all that far to the next landing zone, and we do have a little bit of wind coming in. Paul needs that one to stay up. Looks like it does, but the wind coming in, players need to get their shots up high so they're not pushed down and into the water.
I think McBeth certainly had that a little wider than originally intended. That's going to be closer than he was hoping for.
Yeah, it's such a simple shot. I actually earlier took it for granted and just kind of really threw a soft shot. Paul threw it hard enough, got it up there to the landing zone, and we might have...
Uli's is fading left of the pin.
The key here is getting it up high and wide and trusting that the disc is going to come back. And looks like Ricky got an unfortunate skip. You could hear him groan.
Josh going with what I believe is a mid-range Champion Rock. And Paul's hits the wire that hangs out over the water. I don't think that necessarily slowed it down anymore, but he's lucky that did not get a more awkward deflection in any. And Wysocki from way out. And a good effort there. And Uli, who's been so on today, had an obstructed view of his putt there. Here's Anthon. And the light Anheuser putt converts. No surprise there for Josh Anthon. Both McBeth and Ulibarri with just a few feet left to tap in. The wind seems to be picking up. It's blowing from right to left to right. And the chase cart has moved off hole 14. We're moving that way. Stay tuned at the Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft.
1, circle 2 for a birdie, but we have a fast green. The wind is picking up, so it's going to take 2, maybe 3 well-executed shots to score yourself a birdie. And it looks like we've got one good shot. Long way to go, though, from there.
And Josh Anthon may struggle with footing there. It is clean. It looks to be safe. However, he may have a little challenge with his footing. Ricky Wysocki threw a number of rollers yesterday as he came out to the back half of the course. That's officially rolled out of bounds. It's rolling back towards inbounds. Goes around some spectators that weren't even expecting to see a disc that far. Dana says that shot is insane. Paul McBeth lining up a conventional backhand.
Looks like he's going Thunderbird.
And like Anthon's very low, however, he'll be about 30 feet in front of Josh's. And it's not so much the distance, but it will be the footing that will be so much better for him there. And Paul Ulibarri also keeping it clean, heading toward the OB, but it's going to come in short of it. He'll be safe. The battle continues at Sunset Hills. Let's another great release. That is fading left. Again, you'd rather be safe and off to that left-hand side. And Ulibarri continues to be right on point. Great looking putt by Paul, or great looking drive, I should say, by Paul Ulibarri.
And McBeth, trusting that his destroyer is going to come back left, hangs it out wide and pays off. It's a little bit of a bad roll for him, but he's well inside circle 1.
In unbelievable fashion that has rolled out of bounds. Ricky Wysocki's day could not get any worse. And he turns to the cameras, shows a little love. And that one sticks for Ricky Wysocki. I'm not sure if you can quite call that a break or not, considering he shouldn't have had the roll to begin with. We know Duke's Bar and Grill appreciates that. Good putt there by Ulibarri. McBeth is some great putt on the 14th. A little drama. And Josh Anthon going with a turnover here as we're feeling a wind blow from right to left. Comes up what looks to be at the circle 2 flag, putting him up approximately 70 feet. And unlike Ricky's roller yesterday, We see him go with a forehand, which is also what we saw him throw 2 days ago. Paul McBeth giving it a little bit more air than what we saw from Anthon. However, this seems to be stabling up, heading toward the OB, and that is in fact out of bounds. And Uli's turnover shot glides but comes up short. Let's see how the and Uli's step hop just off the front of the rim. Are these guys getting tired yet, Dana?
And Paul short, Ricky right on circle's edge, looking to keep the momentum going.
And Ricky with the lone birdie here on hole number 15. This played as one of the easier holes throughout the weekend. However, not today for the lead card. Uli will tap in. Josh Anthon will do the same. Just 3 holes left to play. I called it midway through the round yesterday. This is Josh Anthon's tournament. Just 3 to go at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, presented by Discraft. Just as we saw from him yesterday. Ricky has thrown that disc as his roller a number of times throughout the last few days. And immediately out of his hands I hear, "Oh boy." That might roll a little bit quicker next time after hitting a tree with that much force. Josh Anthon also going roller with one of the best huck faces in the game. And the gallery starts applauding it. And everyone at the tee with a large roar after a green flag was given by tournament director Nate Heinold. Third to throw should be Paul Ulibarri.
Paul's going with his trusty Test 750 M2 and throws an absolutely beautiful turnover shot to the land zone. He's going to have a good look at birdie from there. Paul McBeth with a driver in his hand, maybe a Thunderbird. And he puts down a roller, and that is really aggressive with a good cut. As long as it doesn't end in the bushes, we're money.
Fortunately for Rocky, it looks like he's in the field at rig moment.
I suspect this putt is going to end up deep, if not hitting some metal.
He was Paul that he able to. Well, Josh should just lay this on
Metal. He's got his pedal to the metal all the way.
Oh, and the gallery was calling for it. unfortunately does. And a weird spit off the ground for Wysocki. Oh. And Josh Anthon actually lets out a little smile. He knows that that was a very rare miss. That was inside 20 feet.
That kind of looked like my putting this week. I was missing them all left like that.
Anthon just 2 holes to play with the rest of the card. We're moving into 17 at the Ledgestone Insurance Open.
And Ulibarri going with a fairway driver of sorts, maybe an H series that's playing to the fat side, safe. We do have a different wind than we have had the previous 3 days. It's in our face just a little bit. That needs to get a little bit of legs. It does. Anthon going mid, having to throw it a little bit harder. Looks like it's just hard enough. And nice shot by Ricky. We got.
And Josh is falling apart here. I don't know what he's going to do on this final hole or two. He is. This is going to dwindle to an 8-stroke lead if Uli converts. And Uli lets that one out low. That gives him the opportunity to get tied by Paul McBeth. First, Wysocki will putt. And Wysocki stares it in. Paul McBeth to tie his friend Paul Ulibarri here. And Josh Anthon hopefully does not 6 or 7 putt this and make this closer. All right, he cleans up for the easy 3. Uli gives him a smirk. We have a brief walk to 18. Stay tuned for the conclusion of the Ledgestone Insurance Open presented by Discraft.
No, I'm just kidding. I do like left-handers. Devin Owens has won this tournament before. He's a great guy, and look at this. He told me he was going to do it, and he's going for it.
Paul McBeth opts for the showman route, landing, and that is a ridiculous shot. Well, Nate, before we let you go, I want to say thank you for the awesome experience. It's been fun being here again with the coverage on SmashBoxxTV and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And congratulations on your recent nod in becoming a PDGA Board of Directors member.
Yeah, my first order of business will be to nominate you for the best live broadcaster ever, Terry.
All right. I like what your platform you're on there. And Wysocki rolls up to a marker. What does that indicator say? There's a...
That's, I put a couple markers out this year on a lot of holes for 500 for orange, 250 for yellow, so that was a bomb of a roller there. And I just want to say also, just thanks to Discraft, this tournament would not happen without them, and Bob and Mike have been so supportive. They are just phenomenal.
And Josh Anthon already rolling. We weren't even, the previous roller hadn't even stopped. And Josh's hits the wall. And Uli hits a tree about 100 feet in front of him. Looks like McBeth will be next to throw. And McBeth goes with a forehand. This could be the difference between the two, or if McBeth gets up there. Josh looks like he's going to go out over the water here. That's his best shot. And that hopefully will continue to fade to the right.
Oh, yeah.
And a disgustingly perfect shot.
Oh, yeah, he's wanting to put this one close and walk away with a tap in.
Ricky's going to hope for a skip up and to the right, and it looks like it caught something, hit the tree, and it is safe of $1,000. And if Ulibarri wants any chance of king up with McBeth, he's going to need to make that putt and hope that McBeth does not make the putt for birdie. And Uli does not draw a medal. And McBeth draws medal, but McBeth will be putting in for the 4, and he will be walking away with second place money, $4,500. Wysocki. And that one sticks in for Wysocki, who's handled adversity very well today, along with a few bad breaks. Paul Ulibarri finishes in third. And your champion, Josh Anthon, wire to wire, taking down the 2 best players in the world.
Ledgestone Insurance Open present my discraft champion, Josh Anthon. Great event. Hi, everybody back home. Thanks for all your support.